And you're an expert on this whole area of the solar storms. There's three different types of particles. You get electrons first, then you get protons, and then the plasma arrives. People don't have any idea just how dangerous they are. They change people and animals' behavior, and we're in an area of space which is the most energetic. Every 255 million years, we pass the same position in the galaxy when it rotates what's called a galactic year. Every 62 million years, roughly, the Earth rises into the northern plane of the galactic plane because it goes up and down like a carousel, the Orion arm of the galaxy. We're at the convergence of the Milankovitch cycle, 105,000 year, where the orbital stretch gets down to being spherical, so the temperature of the Earth drops, causing an ice age. 11,500 year cycle that's called the precession of the equinox cycle. And then finally the 360 year cycle of the alignment of Saturn and Jupiter that times two that causes a Maunder minimum type of ice age cycle. And we're on the convergence of all of these cycles right now. And it's no wonder we're having volcanoes going off everywhere, like 21 gun salutes, earthquakes, weird changes in the heavens, plasma. Now we have even Fukushima that's putting up xenon 133. So we're seeing northern lights down to southern Indiana. We're seeing all kinds of weird things happening. And even a geomagnetic hole opened up. In fact, you mentioned on the show last week how there was a hole in the magnetosphere that the magnetic field actually fell inside of our one of our geocentric satellites up there, and it actually got fried. People aren't aware of this. They think, oh, everything's fine. There's an amount of redundancy. But they're not aware that we're on the knife's edge of our fancy electronic age crashing to the ground, aren't we?
Well, that's right. And in fact, we did have another crack in the magnetosphere that opened up. It happens every 8 days. The magnetic field of the sun changes direction. And when it's southward, it turns southward. And when it did that, it opened a crack in our magnetosphere yet again on the 27th of March. And in fact, that was when that pilot went bizarre on that airplane. And I just wonder if that magnetic field might have impacted his brain.
Well, they know that in China, the most accurate earthquake prediction technology beyond the new Japanese satellite that looks at literally at the geomagnetosphere and the flux lines around the Earth, this Japanese satellite that's put up 3 years ago, was to look at animals. And the animals literally crawl to the ground because of telluric currents or ground earth currents. And the snakes and birds all act weird. And of course, there was a report, I think about 20-some years ago in China, where they were doing a study in the original work on this. And because the animals warned them, they moved the population from one of the very large cities away before a very major earthquake would have killed a lot of them. So we're seeing things now that human history has never seen before. This is, we're talking about times that are even exceed the ancient world of the time Atlantis and New. We're talking about changes in the earth that have not been seen since the time the dinosaurs were wiped from the face of the earth. An extinction level event is on its way. We'll be back in a moment.
Live, this is One for the Record. I'm Diana, and today is April Fool's Day, April 1st, 2012. Sunday evening. And here is your update for today. That was Dr. DEAGLE's Nutramedical show. I love that show on Friday. So it's the Friday day show. And it has Ann Morrison and a couple other people. And I'll give you your update because they're on a commercial right now. And then we'll go back to it. Let's do osot.net. Okay, let's see what's going on right now. Astonishing heat in March set records month in U.S. Japanese experts warn of earthquakes that could produce 34-meter tsunami. Wow. They show some pictures on the tsunami that hit about a little over a year ago. And, okay, now they're talking about the noise in the Poconos. Let's move on. Let's get rid of that one. Wow. Let's get rid of this one. The Extinction Protocol 2012. Mount Etna blows her top for 5th eruption in 2012. And there is a video that I can favor for you guys, so give me a little bit and I will favor the video. And let's see. Don't know how I look yet on the camera. It's probably not very well. 3 earthquakes rumbled near New Zealand's volcanic, and it's cut off. Volcanic White Island. Noise was not thunder, Poconos residents say. And that was yesterday's also. Not a lot of news right now. So, let me see if he's back yet. No, he's not back yet. So let's see if I can favor this one for you guys real fast. And we'll catch the show again. It's always the 3rd and the 4th hour. And before that he was talking about Fukushima and how bad it is, and it still is, and he was giving some stats on that. Let's see what we can do here. See if I can favor this. Sometimes I favor things and it doesn't favor it. It's like the most bizarre thing. Let's see here. Okay, I'm favoring Mount Etna right now. Not sure how the camera looks. I'll have to check that in a minute. Here, we'll go to it right now. Here we go. Let me fix it. I'm going to adjust a little bit. Here we go. No, can't see anything. What a computer. What a camera. I like to upload my, I got tons and tons of masters that I have to load from the public access show. Haven't done it yet. Okay, let's check on him. Nope, still a commercial. So this is the show that you can go and make your lunch for tomorrow, because tomorrow is the beginning of the week. Don't forget to pay your rent. Rent is due now for the new month, if you are renting. And let's see if he's back yet. No. A lot of commercials. Let's see. Let me check one more time. Here he comes. So you can go take care of stuff and just turn this up and walk around. It's GCN.
Welcome back, and John, what are the average comments people make when they call you to consult you? They go to thelibertyman.com, and of course, and if they consult you and want to get more information about radiation detection, because you act as a consultant, they have a very special machine that'll actually tell you the radioisotope pattern of what the isotopes are. Have you been doing any testing, Ann, of looking at the isotopes and looking what's coming over America? Because I think you're in Indiana, right?
Well, I'm south of Indiana, but yeah, unless the jet stream is coming this way, I don't bother. Besides, we've had thunderstorms up to 50,000 feet, and that's washed the radioactive materials out of the jet stream and out of the atmosphere. They're down on the ground now and run into the storm sewers.
Yeah, exactly. We're starting to get what's called a bioaccumulation phase. In other words, the way we bring back and forth. I look at my radiation detector. Many days it's down in the 20s. There's other days it's 2 to 3 times radiation. When the San Onofre plant burned out, it was up to 4 times the background radiation. And with Fukushima, it's much more consistently in the 50s and 60s, 3 times background radiation, which according to EPA, it's basically hazmat. So in other words, all of North America and Europe and Eurasia is now in hazmat situation from just Fukushima. And it's actually the radiation levels are increasing. The level of becquerels is over 22 million becquerels per hour more than even November, December by comparison to January, February. So the radiation levels are not decreasing, they're actually increasing. At a time when we're going through earth changes, at a time when we're having austerity fascism. I got a latest report that Obama clears further sanctions against Iran. If they start a war there, the oil price is going to go skyrocket through the ceiling, and we're going to have a release of a lot more radiation from the Bushehr reactor. That's 1 gigawatt reactor. It's one of the largest nuclear reactors on Earth. We physicians have estimated that if they hit it, it'll kill between 30 and 34 million people within 30 days from the radiation caused by that reactor. 30 to 34 million, which will be downwind across Iran, Pakistan, and China, Burma and China. People don't have any conception. When you add this to Fukushima, when you add this to the economic issues, and the population, by and large, they don't even have 3 weeks of water. They don't have dry food. They have no personal protection. They don't have anything ready for anything. And I tell them 99% of the problems, even power outages, are only going to last 4 days to a week or two. But they're not prepared for that either. And if they do go to, quote, ask the government to take over them, FEMA, I call the Federal Emergency Magnification Agency, they're going to activate civil detention. Now, they have a limited number of civil detention camps, and they can't take care of everybody, so they're going to screw it up, and a lot of people are going to get infected, they're going to starve, and they're going to end up doing a lot of violence against the population when they lose it. And that's where I see things kind of getting way out of control here. And I don't see it a long ways off. I say in the next 5 years, the chances are virtually 100%. We're going to hit with major solar storms. They're going to start knocking down big chunks of our power grid and our electronic age around the world.
Well, we know that FEMA already has tie-ins to the grocery markets and probably the other markets too. Anything that has a computerized pay system, and they're looking for people who are hoarding.
In fact, if you hoard, it's already in Patriot Act 1. I have an actual copy from the U.S. printing office. If they think you have more than 2 weeks of food in your home, based on your grocery records, they already have a database, and these are based in these fusion centers, like this new super database, a 1 million square foot facility in Utah that they're building up at a cost of hundreds of billions of dollars while we're short of rebuilding infrastructure in America. They're building these giant super databases of everybody and every citizen. It's not to catch Al-Qaeda, it's to catch you and what you're emailing, what kind of food you're buying, what kind of ammo you're buying. They want to know everything. It's just ridiculous. And these fusion centers, by the way, are gathering information like the Library of Congress. Most people aren't aware. They passed a law under Obama 2 years ago where the Library of Congress makes Facebook and Twitter now, those databases are constantly being updated and kept permanently in the Library of Congress. Hey, were you aware of that?
Well, it's a volume of information that is almost beyond human comprehension. Unless you're specifically targeted, you got nothing to worry about, because it takes human beings to follow up on all that data, which can't possibly be done on everybody. If you're a radio talk show host or an outspoken person, somebody that's come up on their radar, then you may have something to worry about. Otherwise, there's just not time or people.
Well, what they did is they actually have accomplished something. In 2003, I have sources that they released an AI system that is intelligent as a genius-level human, but it can think as fast as these supercomputers. And they have access, this intelligence, if you call it AI, system was launched at Falcon Schriever Air Force Base, and has a capacity to call over these databases everywhere on the planet. So the fact is, we're not looking at human beings now. They used to use keywords, which is Project Echelon. Now they have AI systems since 2003 that can actually call through all these databases, kick it to a higher level, and then it gets seen by humans. So they have ways of going through the database to do what's called these data architecture analysis, to actually build data architectures to determine if someone should be looked at by a kind of an intelligence agent or kept under a closer watch list. We're already on the watch list, but now they have a much better way of doing it. And they have Facebook, which, by the way, Zuckerberg, you got to understand, he's just the face of something which is what I call no such agency, or the NSA.
Right.
The fact that he's being made a billionaire and so on, they want to have a face of some guy that's supposed to be a genius that figures this all out. No, this is total invasion of privacy, and they're getting the public to pay for it, which I find really, really disgusting. We talked about that on Tuesday, called Tweet This, with Marie Dubuque, called youtube.com/manners by Marie. And it was quite humorous because people don't understand that they literally have the cybernetic copy of Earth, and everybody inside it is called a node. And they're in the first and second world. They've got a database on every person in all of these Western countries. Everybody. They don't concern themselves with the third world because they don't think that they're even going to survive the Earth changes coming.
Well, some of those third world people might just surprise them.
Exactly. In fact, the fact that they can have a machete, an iron pot, and get a wild pig, they may be more likely to survive, believe it or not, in some jungle somewhere than under a canopy than sitting in an underground base a mile and a half to 2 miles down.
I think so, because their lives won't change.
Right. Those people will basically live the same as long as they can get rainwater, even if it's moderately radioactive. And if some of them die, the ones that are stronger will survive. Just like mushrooms will, human beings are like, the prelude to what I call the human cockroach. So only the radiation-resistant ones can survive. And it's interesting that 1 in 200 people are very radiation sensitive, but also 1 in 200 people are extremely radiation resistant.
Really?
So, yes. So what happens is you're going to find some individuals are so radiation resistant, you can blast them with a lot of radiation and it'll do very little damage. We also have supplements that we take like myco-D2, Nutritol, and glutathione. And if I give them these supplements before they go into a high radiation zone, it'll cut out 98% of the radiation. In fact, one of the first projects I helped back in 1973, which is 39 years ago, was assisting my friends when I was doing my PhD research project for an offshore CIA project to actually work on creating drugs and or nutraceuticals to give to the U.S. military to do operations after a world war with nuclear bombs, so they could take over boots on the ground within 48 hours rather than 2 weeks after a nuclear blast. And we have those. So people say, Dr. Deagle, we don't. The science of the military is centuries, not decades, ahead of what people think.
Mm-hmm.
Centuries. And they've spent trillions and trillions of dollars. Trillions. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
It is. And the people say, oh, they're not preparing to help the public. They don't care about the public. They care about saving. And you have to understand the evil of these globalists. They think they're doing well. It says in the Bible that every man did what was right in his own eyes. In other words, the face of evil is people that think they're doing the right thing, like Bill Gates. He's going to save the remnant of humanity by killing all of us.
They worship Lord Gaia, and Lord Gaia wants to kill off 90% of the people of the world.
Right, and they think they're also going to save a seed stock or an arc of the population, which is why they even database 38 years plus now. Everybody's blood of anybody that's been born in the Western world, they actually did tests for phenylketonuria and took a heel blood test, and that actually is stored in a giant database in cryo underground near Ayers Rock, Australia. People aren't aware of this. They think it's not just a seed vault in Sakhalin in Svalbard, Norway, in this island at 600 feet above sea level inside the Arctic Circle. No, they got a human seed bank of DNA of everybody in the first and second world. People think it's science fiction. No, it's not. It's reality. Sorry to burst your bubble. Bubble time's over.
Well, I guess it's another commercial again. There's Max in the background. He's out there walking around. So, let's go on to the Watchers. I think the show's almost over. Caught you most of the best part of it. Let's see. The Watchers. Mystery cloud appears on Mars. Ooh. That happened 2 weeks ago. So, there's a mystery cloud on Mars. Guess someone's having a barbecue. I think they must be on spring break down there. More proof that there's life outside this planet. Extraterrestrial life. And drought spreading in Britain. Drastic restrictions on water consumption. Scientists shaking up some long-standing hypotheses of our planet's origins. And tropical cyclone Pakar to make landfall in Vietnam. The first sprites of summer appear in the skies of North America. Okay. And that's it for the Watchers. Not sure if Dr. Deagle's coming back or not. I think he has one more round. Let's see here. So that's the Watchers. Oh. this is. Looks like something new. Just got in here. On the Extinction Protocol. Study finds Japan's defenses woefully inadequate. To protect against a major tsunami. Oh, and this is coming out of Tokyo. 3 earthquakes rumble near New Zealand's volcanic White Island. Okay, so 2 more things were added. Let me see what else we got here. Mount Etna blows her top for 5th eruption in 2012. Okay, that's all the Extinction Protocol. Let me get rid of that. Max, stop scratching. Ever since I put flea stuff on him, I think he still has fleas. Well, we're waiting for Dr. DEAGLE to come back. Maybe I'll check out Dutch Sense and see what's going on with him. See if I can open another window real fast. Doubt it. Nothing's very fast on this internet. So if anything strange happened today and people are joking with you, it's April Fool's Day. Just so, heads up. Better question whatever happened. Might not be true. Let's go on to Dutch Sense. No, he's not back yet. Let's see here. What's featured? Max, please. Please stop, honey. Have to check through his fur again. I don't know why they can't eradicate fleas. And I have a friend. They still have, I mean, they can't get rid of roaches. I can't get rid of fleas. What do you do? They're the only ones that are going to survive anyway. Okay, let me look on here. See if I can get on the Dutch Sense. Is he back yet? Here he is. He's back.
If they have common sense, they're kind of shaking their head and say, no, 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 they can't be right. This can't be happening. This isn't real. Well, God says he will be with us, but he also wants us to prepare, which means you need to start with simple things. 3 weeks of water. Let's go through the list and tell people what they need to do to prepare. And we need to be prepared for things that really are very likely to happen, like a UV shock, food shortages, major power outages, major economic collapse. These aren't just the doomsday preppers on Nat Geo. This is real stuff that really is almost certainly going to happen in the next, say, 5 to 10 years. And people aren't prepared. Better 5 years early than a day late.
Most important thing is spiritual preparedness, of course.
Exactly.
And that's a matter of individual preference. You know, we have ours, and people can have their own. But after that comes skills. And you don't need a lot of money to get skills. You need time and determination to get skills. After that, it's a fairly simple list just to get started, where you get water independent and get a couple of good quality water filters like you offer at your website, Dr. Bill.
Yeah.
And go from there to get simple, not terribly expensive things. You need to be able to defend yourself. I recommend a 30 caliber rifle and 500 rounds of ammunition for each adult. Cast iron cookware and skillets. You need transportation, preferably diesel, to haul people and equipment and supplies. Temporary shelter in the form of canvas tents, not these cheap nylon tents at the sporting goods store, or heavy canvas tarpaulins. Either one would work. Food, 900 pounds of dried grain per person, which, quite frankly, you can go to the feed store and get the same thing the farmers buy, and people can eat that too, in form of rice and wheat and corn and so forth, and pack it properly so the weevils, when they hatch out, won't live. You need a comprehensive medical kit, and of course the skills to go with it. Galls, GALLS, sells them, the same ones the EMTs buy. Same kind of clothes that the construction workers and the farmers get: boots, trousers, shirts, hats, gloves, heavy-duty outdoor clothing because you're going to be doing manual labor outside. Vacuum-packed heritage garden seeds. That could be good for yourself and for trade items. If you can only have one book other than the Bible, I recommend Holly Deo's book, Dare to Prepare. It's a virtual encyclopedia of preparedness. I do recommend alternate transportation, a form of the paratrooper bicycle, available at my website. Also, hand crank AM, FM, shortwave weather band radios, available at my website as well. And, of course, a way to detect gamma rays and radiation. And you can help with that, can't you?
Yes, I certainly can. I sell a high-end instrument, mostly because the ones that are out there are built on old technology. They were built for an event that might occur close to you, and they did not take into effect the cumulative effect of radiation on the body. And what we need now is we need a detector that'll tell us when our food has radiation in it.
Right. Exactly. Now, that's where things like the Inspector Plus is really good. I know they have lots of them in now at less EMF as well. The thing about all this is people feel overwhelmed, so they do nothing. And I tell them, start off with simple. Get some 5-gallon jugs, start storing and filtering water, put in some Nutridyne to stabilize it so it doesn't grow bugs, keep it out of heat and light, start getting dehydrated and dried food, start getting canned food, start rotating them, get a class on how to operate and get a concealed carry permit and get non-lethal weapons as well. Get yourself and family ready so you know how to communicate, whether it's two-way radios or some other means, even if it's just mirrors and Morse code. You've got to have some way of knowing that if something happens, you're going to collect back at specific points, so you can actually, if something happens and everything's down, the cell towers. One of the first signs we'll know, for example, if we're being attacked, is that all the cell towers and the electricity is off. All the lights are gone. They're not going to flash, they're just going to be off.
Right.
And people think, well, that, the silence is going to be what's going to be the most awful. And everybody's so connected now with their iPads and their cell phones. People are going to freak out when they realize that if we just have a bad CME, the power go out, or if we have an incoming nuclear attack. And in fact, some of the motions that America's making now publicly could push China and Russia to, at some point in the future, do a preemptive attack on America, especially if Obama gets his way and gets rid of 90% of our preemptive nuclear strike force. That's really stupid. Without verification that the enemies are getting rid of theirs, the Chinese, by the way, are lying pieces of garbage. They are building nuclear weapons like crazy. They're building underground cities like crazy. They have pre-placed nuclear weapons in the Guatemalan-Mexican border and in northern Venezuela. I have further confirmation last week for another government source about the Guatemalan-Mexican missiles. I won't say who that person is, but they're very high level, and the fact is, people need to be aware. The government cross-checks things like when we say it on this program, they say 3 things. Number 1, who does DEAGLE have on the show? Number 2, what questions do they ask? Number 3, how the heck do they know this?
Right.
And that's why when we mention them, sometimes we can't mention our sources, but the fact is, you need to take it to the bank that I'm going to publish up this weekend a bunch of the studies I dug up with Cody Jones on the 62 million year cycle, and then there's tons published on this. This is not like wacko journals of, quote, conspiracy theorists. These are astrophysicists that put this up, and scientists like Professor McCanney, which is basically the top scientist who put up the electric universe or the plasma universe. This is science. It's not open to an opinion. It's open. That's the thing about science. It's open to scientific rigor. And it doesn't mean it's absolute either, but it's pretty close, which means you can actually verify it. You can show scientific validity to the theory. It's something where you can prove mathematical equations. You can also make predictions using these theories as to what's likely to happen. Like with solar sunspot 24, this one coming around the AR 1469 or whatever it is called.
AR 1429.
29, yeah. That's going to swing around the next few weeks. We're going to have some solar sunspots. If it happens to hit our ground, especially if our magnetosphere is weak, we're likely to get some fried people and some fried equipment. Now, the government's not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you that, like my source, the 290 different step-down transformers in the United States, we weren't even in Killshot Center. It hit mainly South America. I had another verification yesterday that the South American power generators got hit pretty hard by this kill shot that hit the Earth just a few weeks ago. So this is not like, oh, that might happen a century away, and that's not going to happen. The Carrington event in 1859 was so powerful, it literally burnt railway ties, burnt people's hands on the telegraphy machines, and actually set papers on fire, and burnt wires for hundreds of miles across America with telegraphy back in 1859. So
Right.
in this day and age, if that happened, and now if a Carrington event happened, our society would crash and burn, and we would have, it would be nuts. Anybody with electronic ignition vehicles out there may or may not go. They don't know whether or not they still work. If you have your stuff buried in a Faraday cage inside a steel can, like a ham radio, yes, it might work. Guns will probably still work. But beyond that, it's going to be dicey. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. An event like that would bring our society to its knees, and we would never get back in our lifetimes.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why 2012 our governments are in such a panic to bring in the new financial order this year and to start a war this year is because in 2013 and beyond, I have from my sources that big chunks of the power grid and the electronic age are going to start crashing and burning.
We'll shut them down just like it will us.
Right, and it'll shut them down, so they want total control now before the system shuts down, quote, the electronic satellites and ground-based communications and fancy iPads and everything else. We need to start re-engineering our society, having fiber optic cabling, having radiation-resistant technologies, having radiation-resistant military. We have Atmel Corporation that makes the IEEE ferromagnetic chip, and they, at the time when I was there, their biggest panic was they weren't making chips fast enough to completely harden our entire military, including our aircraft carriers, our jets, and our smart bombs. Well, guys, if you haven't done it, and you bought 85% of your chips in the open market from China, and they have cyclotron resonance EMP weapons that they've given to the Iranians and Syrians, don't be surprised if your jets and your missiles can't touch their targets.
That's right.
Not good. And so, if you're asking questions and you're listening to the Neutral Medical Report, transcribe it, shove it in the face of your senator, congressmen, special forces, and other agencies and say, what the heck questions did they ask this time? How the heck did they know this? And are we prepared? And the answer will be, unfortunately, probably not prepared, because the pinheads that run everything, usually the scum rises to the top, and people that really care about America and the people of Earth are not in control.
That's right. Well, Dr. Bill, this is the Liberty Man signing off for this week.
Yeah, thanks, Ann. Closing comments, Ann.
Forewarned is forearmed.
It definitely is. Look for those articles this weekend. I'll be posting up another report here shortly on a blog on the news on our live stream channel. You don't want to miss it. We're putting up reports now daily.
Well, that was Dr. Deagle's show from Friday. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some work done before the new week starts. And you have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. And this is it. Only a half a day left, if even that, before the weekend ends. This is day 2 of the weekend. So have a wonderful evening. Check out my favorites. If I see any great videos, anything else special, I will favor it off and on throughout the night. But there's quite a few on there right now. So take care, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Oh, it's Monday. Tomorrow's Monday. It'll be all right though. We'll count it down again. Bye. Take care.